There are many different types of learning programs, and as a trainer or a curriculum developer, you're obviously going to be expected to have a really good handle of all of those different methods. If you're putting training together or you're planning the training experience itself, you need to be really well aware of all of the different ways that you can actually transmit knowledge, information, and develop and build skills and competencies in your students in the best way possible for that student themselves or the context or environment in which they're learning it. So this is not an exhaustive list at all, but just to give you some idea, we could be looking at face-to-face programs. It could be online programs. So there are self-paced online programs. This is where a student would log into an online school, for instance, and there's a bunch of videos or workbooks or audios on there that they can just jump in and out of and watch whenever they like without any particular deadline. Or we can have sort of instructor-led or time-bound online courses as well. So these would be your courses that may have trainers that come in and do one-on-one or group one-to-many webinars. So there'd be set dates or durations that they come on board. It could be that the content in that online course is released by what we call drip feeding. So certain dates, certain modules or content will be released so that there is actually, it's almost a guided, facilitated course, albeit done by distance. We can also have classroom-based discussion group learning. We can have your lecture-based instructor-led type training. Simulation training is another great example. So for instance, flying instructors would do a lot of their learning via a simulated machine or the simulated flight experience to actually put their theoretical learning into practice without killing themselves by falling out of the sky, hopefully. We'd also then have things like virtual reality, which is one step up from simulated learning. Now, my company, Main Training, actually do design and develop and deliver virtual reality education. So this is where real work-life scenarios or environments are actually replicated. And via goggles and gloves, we can actually immerse the student in an almost real-life work experience in a way that the environment around them in that simulated experience actually responds to the way that they respond. It provides certain scenarios and examples that they can practice to really put that theoretical learning into practice, particularly useful in jobs that are really high risk or dangerous. So that's another great way to pass on the learning experience. As is on-the-job training. So this is where, the best way is to get stuck in there, get your hands dirty, and really give the real-life work practical experience. That's the only way to learn some particular job roles. And coaching and mentoring is another form of passing on information and learning. And finally, blended is another main method that's used out there. That basically means it could be a combination of all of those. And normally is the most effective way of training, where you combine a bit of group work, perhaps a bit of self-paced, some self-paced project work, particularly good for adult learners, with instructor-led, with a bit of coaching and mentoring. If you can blend the learning delivery in any way, then you're going to be making sure that you are giving all the different types of learners and people a much broader experience of the learning experience itself. So there's just some methods and types of learning programs.